Everybody, and welcome to session 2 of the Creative Futures programme. Today's session is all on media makeup, and we're joined by staff and students from Cirencester College, who we will introduce later. So those of you who were here last week will know that we're using Zoom webinar, and some of the functions that we're going to be using are, oh sorry, I'll talk about, yeah, it's fine. This is us, so this is myself, Joe, and my colleague Jess, who you can also see on screen. So we're kind of the two people from Study Hire who you'll see at each of the 6 sessions, and you'll probably also see my cat Mumble because he often appears uninvited on the screen. Okay, so yeah, so those of you who were here last week would have known that we're using Zoom webinar. So the functions we're going to be using, so if you have any questions for Lizzie or for the students, put them in the chat function. So just to test that's working for us today, if you can just start typing into the chat today, maybe because it's not coming up to Easter, type in your favorite chocolate bar. So type in what your favorite chocolate bar is in the chat. Yeah, that's fine. There's no webcams for the participants, so just yeah, it's just for the panelists. Yeah, lots of yummy chocolate cards coming in and making me very hungry.
Oh yeah, Reese's, amazing. Brilliant.
Brilliant. So that looks like the chat function is working and you all love chocolate. So the second thing we're going to be using is polls. So we're going to launch polls throughout the kind of presentation to ask you your opinion on something. So to test that, now we're going to launch a poll just asking you where you are in the region today, so where you're joining us from today. So if you can just answer in the thing there.
Brilliant.
Brilliant, thank you. So it looks a lot of you joining us from Swindon, more than half of you are from Swindon, and then yeah, from different areas. So yeah, great. It looks like our poll function is working as well today.
Fantastic. And just to share a little bit about Study Hire, in case you've not heard of us before, or just as a refresher, we are a partnership of different universities and colleges from across Swindon, Berkshire, Oxfordshire and Berkshire and Buckinghamshire even, and you might recognise some of the logos on the screen there. And our job is to work with secondary school students to put on different events and activities like the one tonight to help you make informed decisions about your future. So thank you again for joining us.
So yeah, we're now going to hand over to Lizzie, who's one of the tutors. She teaches them the HND course at Swindon New College. Yeah, we'll hand you over to Lizzie.
Perfect, thanks Jo. Hi, so yeah, my name's Lizzie and I'm currently the programme lead and one of the main lecturers on our HE programme here at, it's actually New College Swindon now, so we've merged as like one big college, which is great because we've now got potentially like a lot more access to like double the resources, double the staff. We're going to have brand new studios put in for the course as well, so it's really exciting. And if you're local to Swindon, you may have heard about the merger and the fact that the two colleges were coming together. So I'm currently on the Queen's Drive campus at the moment, and I've got a couple of students in here doing some work from recent assessments and also practicing some special effects stuff today. So I'm just going to attempt to share my screen and get that going. So there we go. So what I just wanted to pose a question to you all at the moment, if you could use the chat feature as well, is what does a makeup artist mean to you, or what actually is a makeup artist? What are your kind of initial thoughts on that? If anyone has any inklings on it.
We've got a couple coming through. Someone has said someone who puts art on faces.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
makeup, whether it's natural or special effects for stage and screen, somebody who uses music as an art form, a form of art and faces, somebody who makes a living by doing makeup in film or media, to design makeup for actors to use in performances, and artists who can transfer their, God, I'm going too fast, can't read more, to make it bigger. Any kind of makeup used in TV shows. I imagine that makeup artists are part of the costume designs of a play, somebody who does makeup for film, TV and other sets on people's faces in general.
Yeah, perfect. So that's actually a really good response there as well, that covers loads of different industries. So I think we've got a poll as well about whether or not, like, do you know at this point that you want a career in makeup, or is it something that you're just sort of considering at the moment? So I think that's gone up at the moment.
Yes, some results coming in now.
Just a couple more to vote. Okay, do you want to just end it there, Jess?
Yeah, okay, so most of you are undecided at the moment, so hopefully this will sway your decision in a positive direction, hopefully. So a makeup artist is exactly what most of you have said. So all artists have their favourite canvases, and for makeup artists the canvas just happens to be the face, and the inspiration is for countless poems, artwork and songs. So a makeup artist is a professional who uses makeup products, prosthetics or special effects materials to enhance or even transform individuals. They work in a variety of different settings and industries, and can also have flexible working arrangements. So for example, lots of work often involves things like contracts, and you might be employed for like years on end until you decide to leave. But being a makeup artist, you can often have a lot of flexibility with things like freelance work, and basically working the hours and like days and times that you want to work, and building your own businesses and brands as well. And makeup artists are just that, they are artists. So you should definitely have like a creative energy and flow within your work. You know, not saying that everyone has to be the next Picasso, but you should have a creative way of thinking. And it could be that you may not be the best drawers or in conventional art, but makeup could be something that you're able to really excel in. And like I said, it could be sculpting monsters of the deep or creating like a beautiful makeup for Fashion Week. Everything involves creativity in what you're doing. You know, your kit needs to be really clean, it needs to be inclusive of all different skin tones and types, and you need to be organized and should have a range of knowledge. So I think a lot of the time, particularly when people come to study makeup, they think they're just going to be putting makeup on all day every day, which we do a large part of that, but it also involves things like color theory, looking at things like hairstyling and dressing skills, and having actually a deep rooted understanding of the industry that you're working in, because as a makeup artist you're often working with big teams of people, so it's great to know what you can do and what you have to do as a makeup artist, but it's also really important that you have that knowledge of your surroundings and the people that you're going to be working with. So just out of curiosity, I know that some people are undecided, but we do have another poll that if you've answered yes, or maybe you have an inkling of going into makeup, is there a particular industry that you think you might be leaning towards? So we've got a few up there. So there's special effects, fashion, freelance / beauty makeup, film and TV, theatre, and you may not have selected yes. Wonderful. So I think it's quite a very, so most people want to go into TV and film. It's often quite a popular one, which is really great. And then we've got some special effects, I think probably fashion, and then theatre. So that's really good to know. So the actual course itself, so So I'm just gonna skip through. So why HND? So there's lots of different, obviously, avenues that you can go into in terms of training, university, and higher education. So there's a few reasons why you may want to choose a HND over other options. So obviously, higher education will always provide excellent progression routes into industry and your future careers. However, university and the pressures of studying at those kind of institutions aren't necessarily for everybody, and there's often other ways that you can get around getting to where you want to be. So one of the things that is quite attractive about HND is that generally there are cheaper fees. So universities are notoriously very expensive, but unfortunately they don't seem to be going down the other way anytime soon. So compared to universities, we do offer a cheaper alternative for higher education, and it means that you save money on your loans, or if you're paying outright for the course, it will also save on that. And it will give you the same level of qualification. So for example, a HND is the equivalent to a foundation degree or the first 2 years of a full degree. So you're getting the same level of qualification, but you're normally paying like a lot cheaper price. There's also an easy progression. So obviously at the moment, we're looking at you're kind of coming up to college and you're going to start on those kind of FE courses, but lots of our learners actually choose to study our HND and stay on with us because they felt really comfortable in their campus and their studios. They've built really good relationships with their teachers, and also the HND just provides that natural progression route. If you come in on our lower level programs, it's just automatically there, so you can just re-enroll and then you just carry on and study with us instead of having to kind of uproot and study elsewhere. Also means that you can stay local, which again is saving you money on things like student accommodation, which I think 90% of people's whole student loan maintenance loads go just on paying their accommodation, so it doesn't really leave you a lot of money for anything else, and generally it might mean that you can live at home and you can stay within your family or your communities and friends as well. Generally speaking as well, HNDs are rather flexible, so they are shorter than a full degree program, and it gives you the flexibility to choose where you go next instead of having to commit to 3 full years of education in order to get to that BA and to get that degree. And the last thing is it is vocational, so our courses are built on learning by doing, and they're really heavily practical when they're in the studios, and they're very hands-on skills, and it gives you a condensed timetable as well. So generally speaking, our students are in for like 2.5 days, and then it gives you the rest of the week to work from home on the theory stuff. So when you're in the college and in the studios, everything is just practical learning. So what is the course? So the HND Media Makeup is a level 5 qualification, and it's a 2-year program. So we'll do level 4 units in your first year, and we do level 5 units at your second year. So the course itself is made up of 15 units over the 2 years, and that gives you a total of 240 credits by the end of it all. It allows you to develop your skills to an industry standard using advanced materials and techniques to elevate your portfolio. The HND also allows you to explore new specialisms and work in an environment that you're comfortable and familiar with, and like I said, it saves you money on the course fees as well. And you also receive specialist kits, so we put together like bespoke kits for you with all kind of industry grade stuff, which then means that when you come onto the course and when you leave, you've got everything that you need in order to actually start a career in makeup. And at the moment it includes an airbrush kit, a wig and the special effects, and hopefully you would have done their level 3 with us, so you'll have your full makeup kit already going. So this was just a little video there just to explain what other parts of the course and what we do. So we look at things like design concepts, so actually kind of taking an idea and an image and then turning it into something such as wigs or makeup. So the idea of the course is to really push your thinking and push that creative outlet into not just recreating what is in front of you, but reimagining it as something else. So I don't know if you can see it very well, but that is the wig here just next to me. So the concept was looking at like the Wizard of Oz and the show Wicked and recreating those characters for stage. And so that's just a little bit of the inspo for that. So on the course, so what do we cover? Because obviously the poll was quite mixed actually. So the good thing is that the course itself offers a variety of different stuff. So sometimes universities can be quite specific in what they're teaching. So for example, like Bolton, which is up north, focuses heavily on prosthetics and special effects, and they don't really teach much else. So it's great if you know that is 100% what you want to go into. But even as our earlier poll showed, lots of people are even undecided. So the HND allows you to explore loads of different things that you may not have even considered before, that you actually have a really good knack for, and gives you options for loads of different possibilities within makeup. So we teach advanced special effects and prosthetics, including live casting, silicone encapsulation, and we also work with the film students where possible. We have a whole media department here, and make like short films, so you can actually kind of put on your CVs that you're credited already. We also have whole fashion and editorial projects. So this is just an example here of some of the stuff that we do on the course. So we do obviously all of our practical stuff, but then you'll also submit journals, and you see here that it's still like being really creative, and it shows all the kind of different stuff that we cover, and then in the end of it we end up actually creating your own editorial magazine, which is this one here. So you're all assigned like a project, and then you create your own editorial. So this is just one as an example. So this particular learner was looking at the colour pink and feminism and the way that it links between the two. So you can see here we actually get all of these shot and printed into like small magazines, so that it's like for your fashion portfolio. So there's lots of different ways that we actually showcase the work. You've also then got wig making and styling. So this includes hand knotted wigs, advanced period wigs, and weft fantasy wigs, plus theatrical styling and synthetic dressing. So there's a lot of work that we do as well. And again, it might not even be something that you consider when you're thinking about makeup artists and working in those kind of industries, but there's huge careers in working with wigs and that sort of thing. So that's why we teach it heavily on the course, so that it could be a career that you develop into afterwards. So we look at period hair and makeup specifically for TV and film. We also do airbrush body painting. We look at advanced design work, so we try to get you to be presenting them like this, so like on small boards, using correct papers, and kind of like presenting them as design pitches. So when you come onto the course, you'll have what is known as like a group crit, and you'll basically present your ideas to the class and like get feedback and have discussions. So it gives you that real life experience of what it's like to be a makeup artist and having to pitch these ideas to directors or writers or costume designers. And then we've also got exhibitions and marketing. And so when it comes to actually trying to get a career in these industries, you know, how you can promote yourself, how you can push your portfolio, and work in these different industries. And hopefully, COVID permitting, you will also complete 2 end of year shows on the HND. So at the end of the year, we put on a huge like catwalk show, and your friends and family, and we also try and invite like members of the industry and kind of local people to come in and view the show, and you get to showcase your work at the end of it, which is really exciting. So future industries. So as a makeup artist, obviously there's a whole world of industries that you can progress into, and a HND basically just allows you to explore all those different skills and techniques, like I said, that you may have not maybe never even considered doing before, but you won't know that you want to do it until you've actually tried. So you can work in TV and film. In recent years as well, TV and film has been picking up massively in the UK. So they're building another Pinewood Studios out by Cardiff, and they do loads of filming out in Cardiff anyway. So That's where they film like all of Casualty. I'm pretty sure they do loads of Doctor Who filming up there as well. So the plans are to build a Pinewood there. And then obviously we've got London. They did loads of the Game of Thrones filming out in Ireland as well. So loads of stuff. They're actually realising it's kind of cheaper to film in the UK. So there is a huge career in TV and film in the UK, and you don't just have to go to Hollywood and, you know, filming in LA, which would also be amazing. But there's also lots of work here, particularly up north as well. Then obviously we've got theatre. So again, another huge industry, unfortunately, is suffering at the moment a little bit due to COVID, but hopefully we'll be able to get those all back up and running. But you've got things like the West End, which runs hundreds and hundreds of shows, and they need loads of hair and particularly wig artists to kind of help dress and style for all of those. Then obviously got fashion and editorial. So quite a varied industry that you can go into. It could be that you're working on fashion week, so you may be traveling, and you might go from, you know, London to New York, to Milan. So you could go all over the world with fashion, or it might be that you wanted to work more specifically with editorials, which is all kind of working with magazines and working with editors and producing like a cohesive overall look that's going to go in a magazine. You've also got SFX and prosthetics, which tends to be quite popular, particularly on things like Instagram and YouTube. There's lots of people that are doing that kind of stuff at the moment, and this can often like overlap into other industries. So it might be that you're working freelance, but a lot of the time, if you're working particularly with prosthetics, you're often sculpting for TV and film. So it could be that when you come on the course, you find out you're a real natural sculptor and you're really good at doing prosthetics, and then you can actually create a lot of stuff for TV and film. And then you've also got freelance. So freelance is a bit of a tricky one to define because it can actually technically apply to all of them. So you could be a freelance makeup artist and work in TV and film, or you could be freelance and work in theatre. The term itself just implies that you're working for yourself and not employed by like a specific organisation. So they will like hire you for certain sets of weeks, and you'll set your rate. But it could also be for things like bridal is also like a massive business, really popular. You're almost always guaranteed to get work through bridal hair and makeup, and even things like proms, evening makeup, event makeup, all of that sort of stuff. So freelance could go across pretty much all of the industries. And then we've also got things like wig making and dressing. So again, not necessarily makeup, but a lot of the time as a makeup artist, you are expected to do hair. We don't do anything like cutting or dyeing or any of that kind of, I guess, more intense stuff. You definitely have to do a hairdressing course for that, but it's more specifically, you know, turning, for example, like hair into a look for the 1940s, or it could be that you're just dressing out for everyday crowd makeups. And I've included some pictures as well on this slide just to show things like Bridgerton, which was really popular on Netflix, came out this year, and you know, they had a massive wig demand for that show, but there was actually a relatively small team of people that was behind it, and you had the main wig designer and wig dressers and hairstylists, and they all kind of have to work to this same brief. So you know, there's loads of different industries that you could go into when it comes to makeup and after you complete the HND. So I just wanted to kind of run through what we've got at the moment. So I've put here current units because obviously, like I said, we are merging. So by September, we are going to have like one bigger cohort and one bigger department. So it may be that these units fluctuate slightly, but at the moment, I don't think they change too much. At level 4, you've got period hair and makeup, fashion and editorial. You've also got the performing arts industry. So again, it's that kind of whole research element of really understanding what you're going into and the different avenues that you can explore within this. Investigation of specialism, which admin will use for wigs. Makeup application, which is a theatrical unit that we do, which is what two of my students, Ella and Maya, are recreating today for you. We've also then got production communication, which is the unit we normally use for our end of year show. And then we've also got special effects and professional development. And then level 5, we've got your research project, the freelance makeup artist. You've got special effects 2, so that's where we go a little bit more advanced with your prosthetic stuff. We look at live casting and kind of big creature makeups. You've also got costume design, makeup and hair design. So this is where we really start to refine your design skills and kind of let you lead those projects a little bit and create makeups that you want to be working on. And then we've also got working in the performing arts industry and a management role, which again, it's at the moment it's used for the show, but I think we may well use it for Wigs again in the second year. And it's basically all just about managing your own kind of project and how you're going to keep yourself organized, so everything kind of relates. But as you can see, there's loads of units on there that are really heavily practical, and that's what we really try to bring to the course, is that very kind of heavy vocational element to it. You know, we don't want to kind of put loads and loads and loads of theory work in there. There is an expectation of writing and that kind of academic standard to it, but we do have loads of practical units for you to do and complete, and lots of your submissions are to do with hair and makeup, and often combining bits of costume as well. So course requirements, so this is where it gets a little bit more official. So in terms of the qualifications that you need for the course, in order to apply for the HND, you will need to be 18 plus. And ideally hold a level 3 in media makeup. So that's our kind of preferred qualification that you should have to hold it. And that's equivalent to 3 A levels. And this ensures that you basically have the correct skills and knowledge to prepare you for higher education. So as you could probably guess from the previous slides, or some of the example pictures that have been up on there as well, this can get quite intense, and there's a lot of kind of technical skill that goes behind it. Now obviously we coach you and show you all of those skills and techniques, but having that level 3 in media makeup really helps underpin all of those skills, and it means that you can then use the HND to just advance those skills even further and get better at them, or use different materials. So it's not the first time that you're kind of approaching those skills. So you will need 3 GCSEs, including English, at a 9 to 4 or an A star to C. And we do have alternative equivalents, but it may be that we kind of have to take those into consideration. So for example, if you don't have a level 3, you will need 48 UCAS points and at least one of the following. So 2 A levels at A to D. One of which should be art related, because as you've probably seen, you know, lots of the stuff that we do is really creative. I mean, you really need that flow. A vocational, obviously level 3 BTEC extended diploma in an art related subject, so basically the same as the makeup one that we run, but in some form of art. An access diploma, so a level 3 in foundation studies in art and design, or a level 3 foundation studies in art and design. So if you haven't done art level 3, it would need to be art based in order to kind of have a look at your portfolio and see whether or not the HND would be right. So other requirements, so one of them would be being kit. So obviously being a makeup artist, it is all about your kit, and being able to be prepared for any kind of job that you're going into. And on the HND, you will be required to purchase a kit that will not only enable you to study at the best of your abilities, but it will continue with you in a professional capacity. So everything that's in your kit is from suppliers. So we work with people like Miss Dare, Ben Nye, we work with Cryolan. So it's all professional grade stuff that you're going to be getting in your kits. We also work with a supplier called Pam, which is Precious About Makeup in London. And we basically put these kits together for you so that they give you everything you need to study with us, but also great kind of tools and kits to keep you going while you're out there. We don't have any problems for you to add to your kit. So sometimes we get those questions where people are like, am I allowed to put this in my kit? Of course you are. We all have a beauty bay sale, or we might have things that are specific for your assessments that you need to get done. So we always encourage you to build and expand on your kit so that it's not just the stuff that we give you. I mean, I could be given an unlimited budget for a kit and I would still struggle to cap it. So there's always more that you can add. There's always other things that you can add to it, and you will naturally do that anyway. And then in terms of fees, so as well as obviously kit fees, you may well need to purchase additional supplies throughout the year. So like I said, things like assessments and stuff like that, and your kind of portfolio images that you're putting together may well need specific things. And obviously COVID permitting, we do normally run trips all the way throughout the year, which are often, again, really great opportunities for you to expand your kits. So we often try to go to a show called the International Makeup Trade Show, or IMATS, which holds like hundreds of professionals, industries. They do live demos and talks and seminars and portfolio building, and they also have the discounts, so we all love that. And then we've also ran trips to Paris, and that was originally exclusively for our HNDs, so to give you that kind of experience of getting to Paris. We've ran trips in the past to Harry Potter World. We also go to things like the prosthetic event. So there's loads of different things that we do throughout the year, and obviously each one of them we try to time them with units as well. So for example, we often run a trip to the fashion museums when we're doing fashion editorial and period hair and makeup, so that you can use them as primary research throughout that. The course fee is currently £7.5, and students can apply for obviously government loans, or we do actually have a higher education scholarship that you may well be eligible for. I have popped some links on this slide, but all of that information is on our website as well. If you go to HE, all of the links and everything are there for you. So I just wanted to take this time to talk a little bit about our FE courses, because obviously this is all about higher education and studying at a higher capacity, but it's sort of how do you get there, because you won't be looking to get there in this year, but it's always good to have that in your mind, because as my students will probably tell you, it comes around much quicker than you think. And I always say it when we're sat in first year and I'm like, you need to start thinking about what you want to do after this, and you might seem a little bit quick, but the 2 years honestly just flies by, and then all of a sudden you're being asked for UCAS references and where you want to apply and where you're going to go, and it can feel a little bit much sometimes. So if you start having these thought processes now, it puts you in a really good position, because it will allow you to plan for that. So the FE courses that we run, so like I said, you may well not be old enough to actually apply for the HND at the moment, and generally speaking, our preferred entry requirement is the level 3 in media makeup. So we run several FE courses to help everybody from different backgrounds and needs in order to get to where they want to be. So the level 3 is our main FE program. You know, that's our kind of the eldest child, if you like, of FE, and that's where it's the media qualification, and it's a 2-year program, and this gives you the equivalent to 3 A levels, and it basically explores hairstyling skills. It looks at props, knotting and postiche work, and things like product knowledge. So when you first join, the idea of the course is to train you as if you've had no makeup experience whatsoever, which obviously hopefully you haven't had too much, because that makes our job easier, training you at the right level. I know that obviously Instagram and YouTube and everything like that has blown up, but there are lots of unsafe practices that go on, and things that just aren't realistic or not safe to do on yourself, or certainly not a client. So we kind of teach you the basics and how to use everything in your kit and what all of the different things are, so that then you can start building looks together with that. We also look at bits of theatrical makeup, and we do things like hand body painting and stuff. And the entry requirements for the level 3 are 4 GCSEs, including English at a 4 or above. So you need to have an A star to C in 4 GCSEs, including English. Preferably one of those to be an art-based subject. It's not a deal breaker, but if you do have an art GCSE, it is preferred. So So if you don't meet the entry requirements for level 3, we do actually offer a level 1 and a level 2 program currently, which is really exciting. The level 1 was new this year, and it basically means that if you don't quite get the grades that you were expecting or that you wanted, obviously it's been a really challenging year, particularly this year, and we can never really fully predict what we're going to get, and I wouldn't want you to feel disheartened or feel like you can't do what you want to do just because you didn't get those GCSEs. So the level 1 and 2 are designed so that, for example, the level 1 is mainly aimed at pre-16, so if you were a little bit younger and you were going to come in and start those college qualifications early. But it could be that you drop down just one level to our level 2 program, which is only a year course. Both of them are only a year, so they're not as intense or as full on as the level 3 or even the HND. But they basically allow you to have a smaller timetable. So if you say, for example, miss out on English GCSE, or sometimes we've had students that are homeschooled, and they need to kind of build up their GCSE profile, you can do your level 2, so you can still be gaining skills and doing something that you really love and working towards that future career goal whilst getting the GCSEs and entry requirements ready for level 3. And then it just basically means that instead of the level 3 being a 2-year program, it just turns into a 3-year program. And if anything, it benefits you because you get a little bit more experience, and then you can fully plug all of your attention into the level 3, and getting those skills and that portfolio together for that as well. So where could this take you? So after completing the HND, you do have multiple options available to you. So you can complete a 1-year BA honours, bringing you up to a full degree at level 6, and we now actually offer this here, which is really exciting. So it was developed a couple of years ago actually on our North Star campus, our like sister campus. So now as a department we can offer everything from level 1 to level 6, which isn't done in lots of the courses. So it's really exciting, and it's a great opportunity because it means that we can now offer you a full degree with us, just like any other university. So you can come on, do your 2 years of HND, and then you can go on to the BA top up and end up with a full BA honours degree. So that's one option. Another option is, now that you have the experience of a HND, it may well be that you want to go straight off into industry, and you may want to use the portfolio that you've built over the last 2 years with us. And because the courses obviously aren't a continuous 3 years, you can actually take a gap year, or you could come back to do the BA at a later date. So that's what I was talking about at the beginning, about HNDs being a little bit more flexible. 3 years is quite a long time to kind of commit to continuous years of study, whereas with a HND you can do 2 years, end up with your qualification, and then you can choose your paths from that point, and whether or not you want to continue to study that 3rd year, or, like I said, go off into other industries as well. And some people opt for specialist training courses for a specific industry. So our HND is aimed where you can get a broad kind of knowledge on lots of different industries and skills and techniques, so that it gives you the full kind of full scope, the full package. And then it might be that something really takes your fancy and you think, no, that's 100% what I want to do, and so you may want to build your portfolio in that one specific area. And there's lots of kind of specialist courses that are cropping up all over the UK, particularly with things like special effects and wig making, where it's a very kind of refined skill. And for example, there's like a Neil Gorton special effects course that's run with him, and he does all of the stuff for like Doctor Who and loads of the prosthetics for film and TV. So it could be that you wanted to do that, but there is the catch with that, where some of these courses almost cost nearly the same as a degree course. So the Neil Gorton course is, I think, about 7.5 for like 12 weeks, so it's not even a year. It's like an intense course, and then you don't actually end up with the qualification. So you do end up with a portfolio, which is great, but you don't necessarily get that kind of recognition of a BA. So there's quite a few options that you can go through. So just some examples of where some of our past students have gone. So these kind of cross over both campuses, but we've had students go on to work for the Lion King up in the West End, and we've also had students go and tour with Wicked and Charlie. One of our more recent students has actually recently started getting film work and special effects makeup in London. Some of you may or may not have heard of Guilty Cosmetics, which started on Instagram, but she's got quite popular, and that was also one of our ex-students who started her own business. And then we've got a lot of students who've kind of gone off and actually created their own businesses and are working freelance, either doing bridal, or they've actually gone off almost taking those specialist courses and then adding additionals onto them. So they're doing makeup, but they might also be offering things like lashes or nails and things like that, or going straight into bridal, or just doing like event makeup as well. So we've got loads of students that have gone off, and we've also had students that have been accepted into things like London College of Fashion, Bournemouth, and also Bolton up north as well. So we've got lots of students that are going off into like great places, and there are more to come. I'm positive of it. And these are just some examples of student portfolios and exemplar pieces. So these are some screenshots from a recent editorial look that we did. So the theme is spectrum, so they all get like a different colour, and the idea is when they all come together, it like tells a story. We've got some special effects and period wig dressing, prosthetics. So this is kind of making more film grade stuff, so things that you can kind of blend off and encapsulate and actually make for those types of industries. These are some end of year show looks that have been done. Again, some more editorials. For body paints, and this is where they've also made kind of handmade wigs as well. So all of the wigs in these are hand wefted and made from scratch. And that is all from me. Sorry, that was like I can talk for Britain, so that was rather easy for me.
That was brilliant, Lizzie. Really, really.
Oh no, you are welcome.
It was, yeah, it was so good. I was been watching the students like make themselves up as well as we've been.
Yeah, so they've all got that. I think, are you guys coming towards the end-ish now?
Well, we can see them carrying on, so we can open up now. So if anybody's got any questions, yeah, pop them in the chat. So yes. Lizzie, with the finance, so I'm assuming they can get the same kind of student finance as they can if they go to university. Yeah, that kind of works. You can apply through
student finance. We're all on UCAS, so you can apply through there. I think at the moment, I mean, it will definitely be refined by the time you guys come up to the HND anyway, but at the moment we've sort of got two slightly different systems. I'm not sure if it's going to stay, but at the moment, if you were to study our level 3 and you knew that you just wanted to do the HND, at the moment you can actually apply through the college. You don't have to spend money like applying through UCAS. You can just apply internally and then apply for student finance that way. But yeah, it's eligible for the same.
And student finance, guys, because you might not have heard of it before, it is a loan, but you don't actually have to start paying it back until you're earning money. So until you kind of get a, can you remember the amount, Jess? I can't remember the amount off the top of my head.
It 26 at the moment?
Yeah, I think it's recently changed.
Until you start earning over £26,000 a year.
25, and then I think they've upped the threshold now. So and I think it works the same as tax as well. So like if you were earning 27,000, you would only be like deducted on that £1,000 that you're over the threshold. So like sometimes you can end up only paying like £7 a month or something silly, and you don't even see it coming out of your accounts. It isn't as scary as it looks when you look back getting a £7,000 loan. Oh cool, so we've got some questions coming in. So if you didn't choose makeup media for GCSEs, can we still get to degree? So can they still apply for the level 3 and then the HND if they didn't do media makeup for GCSEs? Yes, yeah, of course, because I'm not sure if media makeup is offered at a GCSE level. So yes, certainly, as long as you've got 4 GCSEs, including English, then you're eligible for the level 3. And then, like I said, we've also got our level 2 programs as well if you needed to top up any GCSEs. Ideally, you know, art is always preferred, but it's not a requirement.
So how many students are on the course? So how many kind of students are on the course at any one time, kind of in each class?
So it can fluctuate a little bit, but the nice thing about HND is that you tend to get a lot smaller classes. So it's a lot more kind of one-on-one time with your tutors as well, which is like normally at FE, or I mean, even particularly with you guys at the moment being at school, you're probably used to like lots of people in classrooms, and at college that generally will get a little bit smaller anyway, so we can have anywhere up to about 20 to 22 students per class on our level 3, and then on the HND we normally have about 10 to 12 sometimes. In recent years, at the moment I've got 9 and 7 for the first and second years, so it's really nice because it gives you that opportunity to kind of spread out and like use the full space of the studio. It also means that you're quite an intimate group, and like a lot of the time as well you're working really closely with your peers and, you know, asking for advice and working on projects, and it's a very collaborative space. You know, I always try to promote in my students that sense of kind of community within each other, and just working not necessarily in teams for projects, but never being afraid to ask questions or help people out if they're, you know, stuck on an issue or trying to problem solve, because that's what it's all about, and we're all in this together and learning together. So it shouldn't be about like keeping secrets or, you know, not wanting to help each other out. So yeah, they're generally between those sizes. Obviously they may well get a little bit bigger now we've merged, because we're technically the merge is like the word of the year this year. So it could be that we do get slightly bigger cohorts because we've now got like a lot more students applying to one campus, but generally speaking there is a cap on HND courses anyway.
Thank you. So we've got a couple more questions. So how much time is between work experience and then study? So how much is kind of work experience and practical and then study?
So it is a full-time course. So there are a certain amount of hours that are expected for you to do outside of the studying. So at the moment, in class and studio times is roughly about 2 or 2.5 days, and then it's generally expected for the rest of that working week that you would be working at home on sketchbooks, design work, you know, doing any prepping and testing and that kind of thing. In terms of work experience, we're often normally quite good with work experience. Obviously at the moment it's been a little bit tough this year because not many productions and things are open, and even if they are, they're only letting certain amounts of people in, but generally speaking our work experience kind of comes in like an ad hoc basis. So often we get people reach out to us and we go and do jobs for people. We've had like exhibitions up in the town centre. We've had people working for like a zombie like Fright Night experience thing, which was really cool, and they did it all in like the basements of the Brunel. I'd say if you're not like Swindon, you won't know what I'm talking about, but they did all of the makeup for that. We've had like body painting jobs, and loads of different little bits that come in, and then where we can, we also generally will get guest lecturers in. So we try to reach out to our suppliers and the people that provide things like our kits and makeup, that will come in and do demos and talks about their brand and different techniques. So North Star had like Bentley materials come in and they did like a whole day on like prosthetics and special effects. We've had people like Bobby Brown in and Ilamaska to come in and do like master shop workshop demos. So we'll generally kind of split the work experience between stuff that we get in, and then we try to get as many people into the college as well.
Thank you. So we've got a few more questions. Might have to keep these quite short because we've got 10 minutes. We want to see your lovely students fully made up.
Yes.
So what happens if the medium, so this student I guess has applied, so she's outside of Swindon, so she's kind of applied, and the college, it's only a 1-year course. Are we assuming that's probably a level 2 if it's just 1 year?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, so the 1-year courses that we run are level 1 and level 2.
Yeah, so I'm guessing, so there was some, I used to work in a college in Bristol, and yeah, their media makeup 1-year courses were level 2. So you can get to the same point. So once you finish your 1-year course, you then progress onto the level 3 2-year course, and then you can apply for HND. And if the college that you're going to doesn't do the HND, you can then apply to new college, because I'm assuming you get students from other colleges coming to you.
Yeah, so the HND can be applied for, like, it doesn't, obviously it's a great progression route for the students that we currently have here, and like I said, lots of students decide to stay here instead of going to university because they've got used to the teachers, and you know, they like where they work. They've often got great friendship groups that come up with them from the level 3, but equally I've had some years where the cohort has been completely 50-50 split, so we've had some come up from level 3 and then some from like external sources, and like some more mature students, or maybe have done like art related subjects and then have decided to come for makeup. So doesn't, a lot of
colleges kind of stop at level 3, don't they? And they don't have the
exactly. So yeah, if you studied at a different college, it's absolutely fine. We still accept external applications.
So when doing the makeup, who do the students paint on?
So you will be, so again, we'll just pretend that this year doesn't apply. So you would be getting models in for your assessments, so kind of keeping any friends, siblings sweet, asking very nicely. Obviously there are, particularly with HND and especially the VA, it's all about kind of building that portfolio for your career, and it may well be, I've had some students who don't have suitable friends or don't have siblings, can't find people, they'll actually use their student loan money to pay for like an hour for a model to come in. And sometimes it's worth doing, just because like sometimes you can get people who are like aspiring models or people that want to actually build their own portfolios, and you can often get them at like really cheap rates, like I think like £20 an hour or something, and then they come in and it just makes a difference of getting like a really great portfolio. But most of the time our students just use friends. Often I will go and peer pressure our level 3s, and I'm like, does anyone want a model? So we often try to obviously assist where possible. We also have a big performing arts department, so we often rope in like dancers and actors who are studying performing arts with us to come in and model for you. So then again, they've got a bit more kind of charisma and are used to kind of performing or having their kind of eyes on you. But yeah, generally speaking, when it comes to assessments, you would be expected to bring a model in so that you can do the makeup on somebody else. You rarely do makeup on yourselves. Obviously we're getting them to do makeup on themselves at the moment just because of COVID. It's a lot easier to get people to be working on themselves and things like that. But yeah, generally you can get a model.
Thank you. And our final question, are the courses quite diverse, as in do you get lots of guys on the course, or are there some like male students on the course as well?
So I mean, it's 100% open to everybody, and we teach all different types of skills as well. So like for example, like when it comes to a theatrical unit, we will teach makeup for men and women. We are getting more and more guys come through. I would love to see more guys taking the course as well personally. I'd be lying if I didn't say it wasn't female dominated, but I think sometimes that's because on the surface sometimes people think, oh, it's makeup, and you know, I don't wear makeup so I'm not going to study it. But as you've seen, you know, there's a whole variety of different stuff that you can do, and it's not just about the kind of like the beauty makeup that I think people think about. There's, you know, a whole world of special effects and prosthetics and wig making and body painting and, you know, loads of different things that aren't necessarily inherently female. And it's odd actually, because when you look into the industry, almost I would say a good like 60 to 70% of makeup artists are actually male. But we just don't tend to get as many on the course. But I always get at least like 2 guys apply throughout the levels onto the courses. So it is picking up, and we've had like male students throughout the years as well, but it is generally female dominated. But please don't let that deter you. I would love more guys on the course.
Thank you, Lizzie.
Brilliant.
We've got a few minutes left, so it would be good if we could have a quick, maybe if you stop sharing your screen and then we can.
Oh yes, of course. Sorry, I totally
zoom
forgot.
in on some. That's fine. Some of the students, if
So sorry, I forgot that was
we can see them a bit bigger now. So can you guys see them all bigger now? Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, we've got Ella and Maya are doing their performer makeup for a unit that they've just done. So all the wigs were hand dyed and styled by them. And then we've also got Caitlin, who's doing a like partial burn special effects makeup using our year 2.
Wow, we transformed during when I had the chat box up. They were covered, and then when I was like, wow, they've transformed in just a few minutes. I had the chat box up and couldn't see. So yeah, we're getting some. Yeah, if anybody's got comments about like the students' makeups in the chat box, please pop them in. There's some coming in. They look really good.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they look great. I'm impressed you guys got it down into an hour. Maybe I need to reduce your assessment times. I'm being generous.
Like no. Yeah. So yeah, all our panelists are quite crazy how they did that in an hour. It looks amazing. Their hair looks amazing, and they'd love to learn how to do that. See, these are some of the comments that are going on in the chat box. So
brilliant.
Yes, they're all really impressed with your stuff. So yeah, we'll leave you guys on. Yeah, very cool. I love Maya's hair. They're loving your hair.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Maya's was inspired by like a fire breather eater for the circus. And they, like I said, they're all hand dyed. So these wigs all started off just as white wigs. And then they've all been custom dyed and styled and kind of embellished by the students.
Incredible. I think we have definitely changed the mind of all those students who were unsure.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we've got another poll.
Yeah.
So I think there's one that, would you consider applying to the HND after today? And would you apply to an FE course at New College, Swindon?
That's looking a lot higher on the
yes, that's so good. I've swayed you.
Swayed you. And I'm guessing some of them who aren't from Swindon might not necessarily apply to Swindon, but looking to
yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, that's really positive overall, and it's definitely, I think it was undecided was like massively up, so that's really good. And hopefully that's, you know, given everybody who maybe was undecided, or even people that had said yes, you know, that more kind of confidence or that insight into what the course is about and what we cover, because I think sometimes people think it's, you know, just makeup. I put it in quote marks because, you know, it's just, it's not, there's so many different skills that you learn, from practical elements to theory to, you know, learning how to write essays and how to research properly and do design work. You know, everything is layered together. And it all kind of comes together in big projects at the end.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. I think that, so that's the end of this session. If we just have one quick look at Caitlin, if you turn your face so we can see.
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you guys for coming. I think Jess, did you just want to round up very quickly? We can leave you guys on the side.
Oh, sorry. So yes, thank you so much, Lizzie. That was amazing. We'll email this out to you guys, but I just wanted to share some other places where you could study media makeup, as well as New College. And just in case the HND wasn't for you and you were looking to do a university degree, then you can study that at university. So we'll email these links out. And as Lizzie was saying, there's such a wide range of what you can study as well. Like she was saying, some places focusing on prosthetics, but some might just be costume design or fashion. So there's lots of options available if today has piqued your interest, which is brilliant. And just as a reminder, in 2 weeks' time, so not next week, but the week after, our next session will be with the BBC and their young reporter team. And we'll be exploring all about what fake news is. You'll get to hear about different careers in journalism and beyond at the BBC, and also be able to have your questions answered by BBC staff as well. And just to mention, that's on a Tuesday as well, not a Wednesday, but we'll send out a reminder to you, so you'll have that link there as well. And just a future reminder, this is what's coming up in the next few weeks. We've got another wide range of different things coming up, from event production to theatre performance, and game design and music production as well. So yeah, thank you all for joining us.
Yes, and thank you again, Lizzie. I'm pretty sure they're all sold on New College now anyway, having seen all of your amazing photos and the students all made up. So
yeah, no, I'm really glad to have done it, and thank you so much for asking us to be a part of it as well, because it's just great to show it. And I think sometimes people don't consider makeup as like a degree or a higher level
really
course,
good
and there's loads of stuff to be done.
Yeah, and you can do the BA now at college. That's
which is
amazing.
phenomenal.
Which is going to have a lot smaller groups and be so that's really good.
And I think the BA is generally, it's really good because it still covers some core skills, but it's generally really like person focused, so you can take what you want out of the BA. And it's really focused on, so say for example, if you wanted to go into TV and film, if you wanted to go into theatre, the BA is basically designed for you to create a portfolio that's specific for that industry and to get you work. Like that's the whole aim of our BA, is to get you the skills, get you the portfolio, get you out into industry. So it's really great.
Thank you. There's lots of thank yous in the chat and lots of
so welcome
comments about how brilliant and how amazing the student looks, and yeah, thanking them as well. So yeah, so that's